There are great players. There are legends. And then there was Bo Jackson. Bo didn't just play football, he distorted it. Defenders didn't just miss tackles, they bounced off him. Safeties didn't just hesitate, they braced for impact. And when Bo Jackson touched the ball in silver and black, the entire stadium leaned forward, because something impossible might happen. And for a brief stretch in the late 1980s, it did. Every week. But then, one tackle, one moment, and the most unstoppable Raider of his era vanished overnight. Bo Jackson wasn't supposed to be normal. From Auburn to the NFL, he carried a myth with him. He was already a Heisman Trophy winner, already a baseball phenom, already known as the greatest pure athlete of his generation. When the Raiders drafted him in 1987, it felt unreal, because Bo didn't even commit to football full-time. He played Major League Baseball. He split seasons, he treated the NFL like a side mission, and somehow, he dominated anyway. The first time he truly exploded onto the national stage was Monday Night Football in 1987. Raiders versus Seahawks. Bo breaks a run to the left sideline. He hits the edge. Defenders have angles. Professional defenders. And then, they don't. He accelerates. Outruns everyone. 91-yard touchdown. As he crosses the goal line, he runs straight into the tunnel. No celebration, no spike. Just gone. It wasn't arrogance. It was statement. Bo didn't need theatrics. The run said enough. From that moment on, the legend grew. Because Bo Jackson wasn't just fast, he was violently fast. At 6'1", 230 pounds, he moved like a sprinter. He ran a 4.12 40-yard dash by some accounts. Whether that number was exact or not didn't matter. What mattered was what you saw. He erased pursuit angles, he didn't get caught from behind, and if you met him head-on, you often regretted it. There's a run against the Bengals that still defines him. Bo breaks through the line. A linebacker squares him up. Perfect form. Shoulder low. Wrap tight. Bo doesn't sidestep. He doesn't spin. He runs through him. The defender collapses backward. Bo continues. That wasn't just strength. That was physics bending. And here's what made it terrifying. He wasn't even playing full seasons. Because of baseball commitments, Bo never played more than 11 NFL games in a year. Yet he averaged over 5 yards per carry for his career. He made Pro Bowls. He rushed for over 200 yards in a game. He was a nightmare in limited appearances. Imagine if he had focused solely on football. That what if still haunts fans. But the dominance wasn't just physical. It was psychological. Defenses over-pursued, over-committed, panicked. Because when Bo got loose, it was over. And that fear changed how teams played the Raiders. You had to account for him on every snap. Stack the box, shift safeties, adjust alignment, and that opened space for everyone else. He didn't just produce highlights, he distorted strategy. By 1990, Bo Jackson felt unstoppable. He was a two-sport superstar. Nike built an entire marketing empire around him. Bo knows. And for a while, it felt true. Bo knew baseball. Bo knew football. Bo knew dominance. And the Raiders felt like contenders every time he stepped onto the field. Then came January 13, 1991, a playoff game against the Cincinnati Bengals. First quarter, Bo takes a routine handoff. He bounces outside. Defenders converge. One grabs him high. Another pulls him down from behind. It looks ordinary, not catastrophic. He gets up, walks off under his own power. No dramatic collapse, no stretcher, just a hip injury. At least that's what it seemed. But inside that tackle, something devastating happened. Bo's hip had dislocated, and worse, the blood supply to the joint was compromised. Avascular necrosis, a condition that slowly destroys bone tissue. He didn't know it yet. The Raiders didn't know it yet. The fans didn't know it yet. But the most dominant athlete in the NFL had just played his last meaningful snap. He attempted a comeback, underwent surgery, rehabbed relentlessly. He returned to baseball, even played for the Chicago White Sox and California Angels. But football requires explosive hips, violent cuts, instant torque, and that part of Bo never fully returned. The Raiders released him in 1991, quietly. No farewell tour, no final tribute game, just a roster move. And just like that, the Raider who had dominated the NFL was gone. There was no long decline, no visible regression, no gradual fade, just peak and then disappearance. That's what makes it haunting. Because when players fade, fans prepare. When players decline, you adjust. Bo didn't give anyone time. He was mythic on Sunday and absent the next season. Today, his career totals don't reflect his impact. Because numbers require longevity, Bo had flashes, explosions, moments, but not years upon years. And modern debates favor accumulation. Statistics, volume. Bo Jackson defied volume. He lived in highlights. And that's why younger fans sometimes underestimate him. They see modest career yardage, limited seasons, and they don't understand the fear. They don't understand how defenders reacted, how stadiums buzzed differently, how broadcasters spoke differently when he touched the ball. You had to see it, to feel it. Bo Jackson wasn't just a Raider. He was an event. And events don't last forever. They burn bright, then disappear. But here's the deeper question. If that tackle never happens, if his hip never dislocates, if the blood supply never dies, what does the 1990s NFL look like? How many Pro Bowls? How many playoff runs? How many championships? Would Bo Jackson be remembered alongside the greatest running backs of all time? Or would he still be something separate, something unclassifiable? Because Bo wasn't just dominant, he was different. And different is hard to measure. When Bo Jackson walked off the field that day in Cincinnati, no one panicked. There was no stretcher, no immediate sense of catastrophe. He even told reporters afterward that he felt fine, that he'd be back soon. And that's what made it so cruel. Because sometimes the worst injuries don't scream, they whisper. The diagnosis came later: avascular necrosis. When Bo's hip dislocated during that tackle, the blood vessels supplying the joint were damaged. Without blood flow, bone tissue begins to die, slowly, silently. By the time doctors fully understood the severity, the damage was irreversible. For most people, it would mean difficulty walking. For Bo Jackson, whose game relied on explosive torque and violent acceleration, it meant the end of football. The Raiders released him in July 1991. Just like that. No ceremony, no final snap, no moment for fans to say goodbye. One of the most electrifying athletes the league had ever seen, gone at 28 years old. That's what makes it feel like he vanished overnight. Because he did. He attempted the impossible. After hip replacement surgery, Bo returned to Major League Baseball. Most athletes struggle to walk normally after that procedure. Bo hit home runs. He even played for the Chicago White Sox and later the California Angels. That comeback alone would define most careers. But football? Football demands lateral explosion, violent cuts, hip rotation under collision. That part of Bo never returned. And here's what makes his legacy complicated. Statistically, Bo Jackson's NFL career was short. 2,782 rushing yards, 16 rushing touchdowns, 4 seasons. Those numbers don't scream all-time great. But numbers don't capture fear. They don't capture mythology. They don't capture how defenders talked about him. Ask former players about Bo Jackson. They don't mention yardage totals. They mention angles that didn't work. They mention collisions that felt different. They mention watching film and realizing pursuit math didn't apply. One former linebacker once said, "He moved like someone who shouldn't exist." That's not about stats. That's about physics. There's a reason Bo Knows became one of the most iconic marketing campaigns of the 1990s. Because it wasn't just clever branding. It felt true. Bo knew speed. Bo knew power. Bo knew dominance in 2 professional sports simultaneously. He was the rare athlete who felt larger than the league he played in. And when someone larger than the league disappears, the void feels bigger. The NFL didn't get closure. There was no slow regression, no final playoff run, no farewell season, just a tackle, a quiet diagnosis, and a release. That abruptness is why his legend feels unfinished. Because fans never saw his ceiling. They saw flashes of it, explosions of it, but never the full version. And that what if might be the most powerful part of his story. What if Bo played 10 full seasons? What if he focused solely on football? What if his hip never dislocated? Would he have challenged the rushing records of Emmitt Smith? Would he have rivaled Barry Sanders in mystique? Would the Raiders have built a dynasty around him? There are no answers, only imagination. And imagination often builds legends bigger than reality ever could. The Raiders of that era had swagger, but Bo amplified it. When he lined up in the backfield, the energy shifted, the defense tightened, the crowd leaned forward. Every handoff felt like a potential headline. That kind of electricity is rare. And when it disappears suddenly, it feels unreal. Years later, Bo Jackson rarely dwells on regret. He's spoken calmly about the injury, accepted it, moved forward. There's no bitterness in his tone, no anger at the game. He once said, "I don't dwell on what I can't change." And maybe that's why his story resonates differently. He didn't chase sympathy. He didn't demand what-ifs. He simply accepted that the game took something from him and moved on. But fans didn't move on so easily, because Bo Jackson represents something rare in sports. Pure athletic awe, the kind that makes even seasoned professionals look stunned, the kind that forces commentators into silence mid-play, the kind that makes highlight reels feel unreal decades later. There's a clip from his 91-yard touchdown against Seattle that still circulates. He outruns everyone, then runs straight into the tunnel. No spike, no flex, just gone. It almost feels symbolic now. He entered the NFL like a storm, left the same way, suddenly, quietly, without ceremony. Modern debates often revolve around longevity, Super Bowls, career totals, advanced metrics. Bo Jackson doesn't win those debates statistically. But football isn't just math, it's emotion, memory, impact. And few players in Raiders history, or NFL history, created moments that felt as explosive. He didn't fade, he didn't decline, he didn't get figured out. He was taken by something invisible. And that's what makes his story haunting, because dominance didn't end due to weakness. It ended due to biology, due to a blood vessel no one saw fail in real time. There's something poetic about that. The strongest man on the field undone by something microscopic. The fastest man in the league slowed by something unseen. It reminds us that even mythic athletes are human. Even superheroes have limits. Today, Bo Jackson's name still carries weight, even among younger fans who never saw him play. Because legends don't always require decades. Sometimes they require moments. And Bo had more unforgettable moments in 4 seasons than many players have in 15. So was he erased? From record books? No. From statistical leaderboards? Perhaps. From mainstream all-time debates? Often. But from memory? Never. Because some players dominate eras, and some players transcend them. Bo Jackson did both. Briefly, brilliantly, and then disappeared. He remains one of the greatest what-if stories in NFL history. A Raider who bent physics, who made professionals look amateur, who dominated the league, and then vanished overnight. Not because he failed, but because fate intervened. And sometimes, the brightest legends burn the fastest.